Beneath Spain's wrought iron balconies and cobblestone streets lie voices. They are trapped in objects from the past. When touched, when the sun goes down, they tell their story. Be advised that this is a horror podcast with very adult themes. It's easier to join a movement than to start one. You can stand up for what you believe in if you're not the only one. But what if you see something wrong and no one else moves to change it? Maybe everyone else is too afraid or doesn't notice or just doesn't care. In today's episode, we're going to A Coruña in Galicia in northwestern Spain. A rainy place of magic. Sometimes dark magic. I'm thrilled to welcome guest actress Laurie Gerson, who will be giving life to some of the people in our story. After spending years as an immigrant in France cleaning homes for a living, our main character is back in her native A Coruña. After buying an antique comb, she witnesses a situation of grave injustice. The comb reveals the story of María Pita, taking us back to 1589 and the English siege led by privateer Sir Francis Drake against the town of A Coruña. This story shows our character what she has to do to fight the injustice, to fight the dark magic. The dark, muddy magic. Yo soy Samuel. Bienvenido a Spanish Sundown. A Coruña, Galicia, María Pita Square, 2025. One of the objects is not like the others. On a blanket tarp, among the stack of knockoff Real Madrid jerseys and counterfeit Louis Vuitton purses, is a gold comb. It looks like a real antique. Josefa greets the vendor on the other side of the blanket.
Bonjour, Jérôme.
They are standing in the corner of the María Pita Square, next to the narrow entrance to the Riego de Agua side street. In the distance, behind him, at the end of the street, lies the Atlantic Ocean. Unlike the dozen or so other men of different origins, with identical tarp blankets and similar items for sale, she knows this man. She sees him when she passes through this sprawling square with its outdoor patios, and the statue of the woman the square is named after, María Pita, holding a spear, and the massive town hall building with its stone arches and three-spired domes. She comes through here every day on her way to clean her clients' houses. Josefa sees her three friends waiting for her at a table a few yards away. She holds up a finger as if to say, "Give me just a minute." Josefa and Jérôme had struck up a conversation as soon as he realized that Josefa spoke French. She had learned when she was an immigrant herself, during the Francoist years, back when she was in her 20s, cleaning upper-middle-class Parisian homes. Now, she's in her 70s, and still cleaning homes. But at least she's back in her own country. He told her he was from Senegal.
Moi, je suis du Sénégal.
And she made a point to stop and chat with him every time she went through the square. He smiles broadly and responds,
Bonjour, Josefa.
How's business today?
Well, you know. If I could do something else, I would.
Yeah, I know.
Josefa crouches down and picks up the comb.
Where did you get this?
It's made of gold, with fine teeth and embedded green stones that look like emeralds. Still smiling, he tells her,
You're not going to believe this, but I found it. Out there, on the beach.
How much are you selling it for?
For you, €1.
Sold. I'll take it.
She quickly rises to her feet as she fishes in her pocket for a euro coin. Too quickly. For an instant, her vision goes dark with little flashes of white, and her body goes numb. Jérôme rushes to her side.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. It's just low blood pressure. It happens when I stand up too quickly.
He looks at her in concern. As she presses the coin into the palm of his hand, she continues.
Really, it's fine. Thank you, Jérôme. Au revoir.
She smooths her sensible, olive green and gray plaid wool skirt, tucks the comb into her hair, then walks towards her friend's table, her flat black pumps click-clacking against the cobblestones. Her three friends stand to greet her with a kiss on each cheek.
Hi, Josefa. Did you just buy that comb? I love it. It looks so good on you.
They're all dressed like her, wearing different colored plaid wool skirts and sensible shoes with flat heels. They chat about work.
I stained my blouse with bleach today. I still smell like bleach, too.
Josefa tells them about her day.
My client's son is a teenager. I had to clean every square inch of his room with disinfectant. There was old pizza under his bed.
The two police officers arrive to the square. Skin-tight black pants and short-sleeve shirts with the blue police logo on the armband. They're standing in the shadows, next to their table. The one who looks to be in charge is smirking under his handlebar mustache. When he opens his mouth to breathe, Josefa suddenly feels lightheaded again. White spots behind her eyes. Her chest grows tight. She cannot move her body. Her friends go silent too, along with the rest of the square. That's when Jérôme spots the officers.
It's the cops!
He shouts out a warning.
It's the cops! The cops are here! Watch out! It's the cops!
Terror spreads through the vendors. Josefa sees the fear and stress in their eyes as they rush to drop their blankets and toss them over their backs like an oversized bundle. Moving en masse, they sprint toward the narrow side street, a human wave running from the police toward the beach in the distance. The man with the mustache blows his whistle. He doesn't move to run after them. He just points and laughs. Then he leaves. Josefa takes a deep breath, and the white spots behind her eyes disappear. Her friends speak.
Those poor Monteros. Did you see the look on that officer's face? He's enjoying this. He thinks it's fun.
Josefa interjects.
Someone should do something. Report him. I don't know.
Her friends go silent and look down at the ground. After about 15 minutes, the vendors begin to trickle back into the square, looking every which way, warily, as they spread their merchandise back out on the blankets. They were right to be wary, because the officers return. Except now, they're on motorcycles. Josefa can see the handlebar mustache through the officer's helmet visor. She and her friends freeze again, and the white spots behind her eyes begin to spark. The vendors shout,
The cops are back! They're back! The cops are back!
Once again, the men draw up their blankets like an oversized bundle and take off running toward the narrow side street. The officer blows his whistle. Then he yells to his partner,
Let's get him!
a smile even bigger than last time on his face. He knows the men can't outrun a motorcycle, and he's going to enjoy the chase. He lifts up the visor on his helmet. Even from several feet away, Josefa can almost smell the man's breath coming from his open mouth. Suddenly, an idea occurs to her. The entrance to the side street is tight. If she were to stand there and block their way, the motorcycles couldn't get past her. She tries to get up from her chair, but she can't. Her vision is blurry and her feet feel rooted to the ground. The other patrons around the square look concerned. Some look disgusted. But no one moves, as if they were unable to. She sees Jérôme running with his blanket over his shoulder. Without warning, it bursts open. Purses and jerseys and trinkets fall to the ground. He tries to close the blanket while still running for the side street next to Josefa, but the items continue to fall, like a trail of breadcrumbs behind him. The officer laughs, then guns his motorcycle while blowing his whistle. He rides over one of the jerseys, leaving a muddy tire print. He swerves to drive over another one, and then another, like earning points in a video game, bobbing every which way to ruin as much of Jerome's merchandise as he can. The white spots behind Josefa's eyes grow more intense. Through the blur, she sees Jerome enter the street, running as fast as he can toward the beach, the setting sun in the distance. There is no way he will be able to escape on foot from the officer on the motorcycle. She brings her hand to her head, and it brushes the comb in her hair, the one Jerome just sold her. And for a moment, her sight grows clear. Able to breathe again, she jumps to her feet.
Come with me!
She shouts to her friends. But they will not, or cannot, move. If they're not going to do anything, then she will. She pushes past them and moves to the arched entryway to the side street. She stands between the officers and the fleeing men. She isn't going to let them through. She glances at the men fleeing down the street. If they can just make it to the beach. Maybe they can get away. She turns her head toward the officer bearing down on her, riding his motorcycle. The vehicle casts a long, moving shadow on the cobblestones under the fading sunlight. He's grinning under his mustache. He shouts,
"Lady, get out of the way!"
How can she smell his breath from so far away? It smells like swamp, like rotten sludge. Once again, her vision goes hazy. She touches her head in the comb again. And that's when the voices begin. Standing there, blocking the archway in her plaid wool skirt and sensible shoes, the officer speeds toward her, the ocean roaring behind them. He's not going to stop. His face fades in and out as it nears her, with black and white flashes behind her eyes. The statue of the woman holding the lance in the middle of the square disappears for seconds at a time before her. Her legs tremble. She's going to collapse. She can't breathe. She needs to breathe. The officer is almost on top of her. She can't see. She needs to breathe. He's going to run her over. He's just feet away.
Get out of the way!
The voices have a story to tell. A Coruña, northwestern Spain, May 4th, 1589.
Ay, qué pena. María Pita had dropped her comb into the sand. A golden comb with green stones, a gift from her husband, Gregorio. In the early morning light, it was difficult to search. She dropped to her knees and patted the sand with her hand. That's when she noticed, what's that stuff in the water? It looked like black sludge, creeping from the Atlantic Ocean toward the shore. It seemed unnatural. It was hard to tell in the dark. She reached out to touch it, sucked around her fingers and held her there. She tried to pull her hand away. Why is my hand stuck? Suddenly, a sound. In the fog, out in the harbor. She went silent. Someone was rowing toward shore. Gradually, as the mist rolled off the green mountains behind her and spilled farther out to sea, she got a clearer view of the bay of A Coruña and of the men in the boat. Standing at the helm was a man wearing a curved metal helmet with a red plume on the crest. He had a blonde, handlebar mustache and red pantaloons. Sir Francis Drake. Behind him stood a man dressed identically, except his pantaloons were blue. Sir Francis Drake's brother. When they saw Maria struggling in the black gunk, they pointed and laughed. And when they did, more of the same sludge came gushing out of their mouths, dropping into the sea and rushing toward her. No one had to explain their dark magic to Maria. She was from Galicia, the land of witch brujas and meigas and quemada potions. She desperately tried to pull her hand free. What's happening? Come on. She saw the flag on the ship behind the men. A red cross against a white background. And then another. And another. And still another. How many flags on how many ships? Too many to count. Maybe 200? She would have to leave the comb and hope to find it another day. His boat drawing near, Drake looked her in the eye as he brought a bosun's whistle to his lips. He blew. Then shouted,
Attack!
The terror gave Maria strength. With one final pull, she managed to yank her fingers from the muck and ran toward the home she shared with her husband, Gregorio de Rocamonde. Gregorio, wake up! The English are here! Gregorio leapt from the bed, his hair tousled. Even with fear on his face, he looked handsome first thing in the morning. He rushed out the door, grabbing his butcher's cleaver on the way. Her previous husband had been a butcher too, but he died. Maria had no choice but to marry again if she wanted to survive. But she got lucky with Gregorio. She had actually grown fond of him. He burst back into the house.
Maria, there are almost 30,000 of them, and only 1,500 fighting men on our side.
Wait, what are you saying?
That we need the women to fight too.
When they reached the lower city, the scene was one of utter destruction. The Englishmen belched their black muck out of their mouths. It spurted through the air, seeped along the ground, slurped around the townspeople, and paralyzed them. Men, women, children, even pets couldn't move. Gregorio asked,
What is that stuff?
Maria answered, Some kind of black magic. It traps us so we can't move. The English slaughtered them like the trapped sitting ducks they were, laughing as the blood splattered into the bewitched filth, and took the low part of the city for themselves. Maria and her husband retreated with the survivors toward the main square of the city, behind the medieval wall, screaming as they went. With all the Spaniards cornered inside the city, the English laid siege. No one got in or out. Gregorio, who are these Englishmen?
I don't know.
Their language was strange, even stranger than the language they spoke in Castile, in the Spanish king's court, so different from their native Galician, like everyone else spoke in northwestern Spain. Why are they attacking us?
I don't know.
Maria and Gregorio were nothing more than pawns in an immense power struggle between monarchs. King Philip II of Spain and Queen Elizabeth I of England used to be on good terms. King Philip had even married her sister, Mary Tudor. But when she died and he proposed to Queen Elizabeth,
Now that your sister is dead, do you want to marry me? Let's make the strongest empire in the world.
her response wounded his pride. Marry you? Certainly not. And so began a power struggle, soaked in religious difference. God loves Protestants more.
No, God loves Catholics more.
Over the successor to the Portuguese crown, and over rights to the Americas, with Elizabeth sending corsairs to raid the Spanish ships laden with gold on their way back to Europe. Corsairs like Sir Francis Drake, the man leading the charge against A Coruña today, with the metal helmet and blonde mustache and red pantaloons. Drake wanted to kill Maria and Gregorio on Elizabeth's behalf, all to punish the King of Spain. The Spaniards held out under the siege the best they could, but on the 10th day, May 14th, 1589, the English placed mines against the wall and blew massive holes in it. Francis Drake came through the hole, blowing his whistle. He was followed by his brother, holding his English flag with the red cross against a white background up high on a lance. Muck again gushed from their mouths. It seeped and oozed and leached across the cobblestone streets and squares, ensnaring anyone and anything caught in its path. And, unable to move, the English killed the townspeople with their swords. A slaughter. By the time the English had pushed the townspeople to the main square, they had given up hope. The muck was spreading, rising up to the people's knees. No one could move. Gregorio looked at Maria in horror.
My legs are stuck.
So are mine. At that moment, Francis Drake's brother arrived, holding his flag on the lance, laughing. He enjoyed this torture. And without a word, he took his sword and slit Gregorio's throat. Maria screamed and cradled her husband's head, looking at his dead face while the man still laughed in front of her. Rage and courage boiled up inside her. Tightening her muscles, she jumped at her husband's murderer. And she broke free from the black filth. Francis Drake's brother looked at her in astonishment. How had she defeated their dark magic? She grabbed the lance he was holding with the English flag and ran it straight through his body. He certainly stopped laughing then. Maria held the lance up high and shouted, "Quien tiene honor, que me siga! He who has honor, follow me!" And with Francis Drake's brother's death, the spell was lifted. The gunk began to recede, oozing to the sides of the square. With their legs freed, the townspeople began to fight, Maria in the lead, holding the bloody lance. "We're winning! We're beating the English!" Maria had managed to turn the tide of the battle. They defeated the English. The English had killed 1,000 men, women, and children, and caused considerable damage to the city. But the townspeople evened the score. They killed 1,500 English, injured hundreds more, and destroyed 3 large ships and 4 landing barges. But the worst damage was to the English morale.
Fuck this war. I'm leaving.
After the battle, 1,000 men on 10 small ships deserted and returned to England. When King Philip II arrived to A Coruña, he gave María Pita the honorary title.
I hereby proclaim you permanent second lieutenant of the city, and you shall receive a lifelong salary befitting the position.
She went on to marry 2 more times. First, to an Andalusian shipmaster, and then to a squire of the royal court. While tragic, Gregorio's death and the battle certainly helped her to move up in the world. She always regretted that she was never able to find the gold comb with the green emeralds that Gregorio had given her, the one that she lost on the beach that day. She hoped someone else would find it and make good use of it.
A Coruña, Galicia, María Pita Square, 2025.
Get out of the way!
The officer breaks mere inches from Josefa, standing in the archway to the narrow side street. And when he does, her friends from the nearby table stand to their feet. They walk to her side, forming a line. A human barricade of women in plaid wool skirts and sensible chunk shoes, silently staring him down. The officer can't get through. He sighs. Josefa sees a trickle of black sludge escape from the corner of his mouth before he flips his visor down and speeds off in the opposite direction. She looks behind her. In the distance, framed by the setting sun, she sees Jérôme and the other men with their big white bundles disappear down the beach. Hola, Samuel here. There's a Harvard study that says that 3.5% of the population actively participating in nonviolent protest is all it takes to spark social change. I think about that number quite a bit. I think it's hopeful. To me, it means a handful of people can make a difference. I saw a woman like Josefa in real life when I was still a teenager. She was in her 70s, wore a wool skirt, and had been an immigrant herself. She stood up to a cop on a motorcycle who was mocking and harassing a guy selling bootleg DVDs. Her yelling, "Don't you have bigger fish to fry?" and blocking the officer's way is burned into my mind, even after all these years. I find the siege of A Coruña to be a particularly compelling story. For myself, and most English-speaking listeners, we learn European history mainly from the English perspective. It's interesting to view events through a different lens, because English and Spanish politics and their royal families were deeply intertwined, and there are multiple viewpoints in this conflict. King Philip II of Spain and Queen Elizabeth I of England were actually in-laws. King Philip had been married to Mary Tudor, better known as Bloody Mary. Her father was the famous Henry VIII, and her mother was Catherine of Aragon, who was Spanish. Philip and Elizabeth were fighting over religion, but also over control of the colonies and the successor to the Portuguese throne. Basically, it was all about money. With spies in each other's courts, Elizabeth also tacitly approved of pirates attacking Spanish ships. Pirates like Sir Francis Drake. Speaking of Francis Drake, he was a really shitty guy. He burned churches, threatened priests, and tortured captives. While the siege of A Coruña had Elizabeth's blessing, they were not soldiers in an official army. This was a privateer mission funded by investors, so his goal was to kill and plunder as much as possible to bring back profit to his shareholders. And kill and plunder he did. He not only killed men during his raid, but also many women and children. Of course, the Spanish government had its own sins, and King Philip has his own dark legacy. I mainly feel bad for the María Pitas of the world who got caught up in these murderous politics over money. María Pita was the 3.5%. She single-handedly changed the tide of a severely mismatched battle, with the English outnumbering the Spanish at almost 30-1. She must have been one hell of a woman. I've taken footage and pictures of A Coruña while recording for this episode. There's also a picture of the statue of María Pita in the main square of the city, cradling her dead husband in one hand and holding the lance she used to kill Francis Drake's brother in the other. Check out our social media profiles and take a look. Just search for @SpanishSundown. I'm dropping a link in the show notes to the location, so you can see it for yourself too. Special thanks to Laurie Gerson for her interpretation of our characters, and to Simon Jones for the original theme music. Until night falls and the voices speak again, thank you for listening to Spanish Sundown.